This isn't a coach standing at a podium after a tough loss. This is a legendary coach seated at the table in the middle of a losing season, choosing every word carefully. When seasons unravel, press conferences stop being about the game and start being about leadership. The first question is about offense and late game execution, but Rick Carlisle doesn't stay there. He redirects the conversation immediately, and that redirection tells you what he thinks actually matters.
Did you see something change process-wise offensively? Did shots not go in? What to you flipped in that period?
Well, the real question should be, why do we give up 68 points in the first half and only 44 in the second half? And that's because in the second half, we played like a together team that was supporting each other and not like strangers.
That's not avoidance. That's control. He doesn't accept the premise of the question. He replaces it with one about identity and connection. What makes this remark striking isn't just the phrase "like strangers," but who it's coming from. Rick Carlisle is a coach with decades of experience and has a deep tenure in the Pacers organization. A coach of his pedigree is usually the one setting the culture, not describing its absence publicly. And that tension tells you how much pressure he's actually under.
Okay, and that's how this has got to be. We're having too much petty nonsense going on during games that needs to go away.
Can you share any specifics
No,
on that?
I can't.
Yeah.
Notice what he does here. He acknowledges the problem without naming it, and he refuses to give reporters anything that could fracture the room. That kind of vagueness isn't confusion, it's containment. Carlisle uses one phrase that carries more weight than anything else he says. Petty nonsense. That's a line drawn without pointing a finger.
Rick just said that he feels like there was too much petty nonsense going on that needed to go away today. Did you feel any of that? Did you feel like you guys cut it out in the second half? What do you think of that?
There may have been a little petty nonsense, but I think it all comes from a good place. I think our competitive spirit in this game was pretty high. Sometimes that bleeds over into, disagreeing on calls or, a guy's help. And I think that's, I think we could take some positives from that. Like, guys are tired of losing. And, we want to hold each other accountable to a higher standard again. So, I think we could do nothing but grow from that.
This is where things get interesting. The coach hears distraction. The players hear competitiveness. Same moments, two very different interpretations. That gap matters because the coach and the players are describing the same moments very differently. The players hear competitive emotion while the coach sees a culture issue. And when you've been leading a group for multiple seasons, part of leadership is owning the results you're getting as a leader.
What were some of those defensive connection things that you felt were much better in that second half that you just referenced?
We were tied together. We were concerned with the play that was happening right now and the play that was going to be immediately happening next, and not whether or not we were touching the ball or getting a shot or not getting a shot. Just that kind of stuff. It's not what this organization's about. It's not what this team is about. It's not what this franchise is about. It's not what this ownership has stood for more than 4 decades. And, everything from little distractions with officials to everything else. It's just that stuff's got to go away. It's pretty clear our margins for error are really non-existent. And we get distracted by unnecessary things that are unrelated to the urgency required in NBA basketball to move from event to event.
That's legacy language. When results disappear, great coaches anchor to standards, not scores. They remind everyone what still matters, even when winning doesn't show up. This press conference isn't about one loss. It's about how a legendary coach sounds when the margins are gone and every word has weight. This is what leadership sounds like during a losing season when responsibility and pressure collide. This is Press Room Breakdown, where we slow the room down and study how the message gets made.